So as I mentioned at the beginning of the course in the syllabus, I said that we are going to start with Britain, okay, and then we will move to the United States of America. When we talk about British culture and society, it is very important to talk about the founding of Britain, okay? What we mean by founding, it's the verb to found, is to establish, to make. So who made Britain? Who founded Britain? And the British people we see today in terms of their physical characteristics, the way they look, if they are tall, they are blonde, they are fair-skinned, the languages, the religious diversity, what we see today in Britain, as I said, goes back in time, in history, and it is very important to have a historical background of the people who made Great Britain in order to manifestations that we see today, why they happen and for what reason and in what context. So it is very important to give the historical context. So the British Isles in general, so when I talk about the British Isles, remember, it is the United Kingdom plus the Republic of Ireland, okay? So it attracted settlers and immigrants from different places in most of its history, and people came from different places with the worldwide. They are mainly divided into English, Scottish, Welsh, and Irish. These are the British people, okay? And these people, they have mixed roots because they came from different places, okay? Even when you look at the English language, you see that it is a mixture of Latin or Romance languages and Germanic origins. You can see some words, for example, if I take the word imagination, okay, it's the same as French, imagination, or Spanish or Italian. So it has a Romance origin. Find a lot of words in the English language which are of Germanic origin, and this also has an explanation, because the people who came or who founded Britain, they came from the different places, okay? So we are going to have as I said, a historical overview. The earliest human bones found in 1994 in Britain, they date 500,000 years old, okay? The first people, the Paleolithic, okay, the Old Stone Age, they are nomads from mainland Europe, and you must know that because of Britain and Europe, they were one, okay? So they were not split. And afterwards, when they were split by sea because of geographical reasons, people immigrated there as well. Then later we have the Mesolithic and Neolithic. They belong to the New Stone Age. So these people, they came from North Central Europe, okay, and they settled. Arrived from the Iberian Peninsula, the Spanish and the Portuguese. So you can see that we have, I need you to follow with me, to follow the different people who came to inhabit or to invade Britain. So they populated West England, Ireland, Wales, the Isle of Man and Western Scotland, okay? The oldest section of British society, whose descendants live today in the same western part, the Neolithic groups, they built large wood and Stonehenge monument, which is a very famous monument, okay? So it's considered as one of the most important heritage in Britain. The 2nd century saw the invasion of the Celts. We call them also the Celts. They came from Germany, northwestern Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium and Luxembourg. Okay, so you see the countries, and when you look at the countries, you understand why some of the British people, some of them, they look like the Germans, they are tall, like the Dutch people, the people from the Netherlands, and some of them, they look like the Spanish or the Italian. Very few, because there was a minority coming from the Portuguese and the Spanish lands, okay? These people, as I said, the Celts, they were very tall, fair-skinned, etc. They believed in hidden practices, okay? They worshipped magical and supernatural powers, and they organized themselves into a caste of priests called the Druids. And these Druids, they presided over religion and education. They were the ones responsible for the organization of religion and and education. The Romans organized their invasion into stages and actually occupied the whole country in 43 after death. And by the arrival of the Romans, the country entered a process of Romanization. What do we mean by Romanization? It's the adoption of the Roman language, the Roman lifestyle, the Roman religion as well. Of the Romans were very, very numerous, but they were limited to towns and especially to London. Okay, so they were the Romans who founded the city of London. They built the Thames Bridge, the famous Thames Bridge, and which was the responsible for the commercial exchanges with the other countries in Europe. Britain, the first exporter of corn. They developed the network of roads. They built villas in the Italian style that you can find up to date today in London. If you go to Notting Hill and Portobello district, you can see villas in the Italian style. And also they were very famous at building baths, Hammamet. And they founded a city called Bath because they were, it had a lot of underground the Romans also, their contribution is very important. They converted the Celts into Christianity. So remember we said that the Celts, they believed in hidden and magical powers, but they were able to convert the Celts into Christianity. But some of the British, especially the Welsh and the Scottish and the Irish, they escaped this process of Romanization, and they survived the language and the culture. Today, you find that the people in Wales, they speak the Welsh language. They have Welsh culture. The same thing in Scotland and in Ireland. The other people who invaded Britain or who founded Britain are the Anglo-Saxons. These people, they originate, we have the Angles and the Saxons, they originate mainly from Denmark, northwest Germany and the Netherlands. And the Saxons, they attacked in 367 after death, and then they invaded the east and the south of Britain. The rest of England fell under the So you can see here that the country was divided into two sections, and power was shared between the Angles and the Saxons. So there were two kingdoms. So that's why there was a lack of central government, and this made it very easy for the Vikings to invade the country. And the Vikings, they originate mainly from Scandinavia, from Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. They were very good fighters. They were very strong, physically fit. They robbed and attacked people. In 1865, they invaded Northumbria in the north and called it Danelaw. And then, of course, Scotland and Shetland and even Ireland, which escaped the invasion of the Romans, they fell under the Vikings, who were very, very powerful. So at that time, England was divided into between the Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings, but of course the former collapsed, and then Canute, king of Viking, became king. Some of the Vikings, they escaped to France, to Normandy. Remember, this is a very important detail, okay? Because later on, the people who are going to, the last people to invade Britain are the Normans. And these people are those who escaped to Normandy and they stayed in Normandy, okay? So they are descendants of the Vikings, okay? And in 1066, this is a very important date to remember, okay? 1066, okay, at the Battle of Hastings, and England was subjected to their rule, and Duke William, who came from Normandy, he became his nobles, and he invaded London, and he became King of England on Christmas Day. So officially, the first king or the first monarchy established by the Normans in 1066. The Norman conquest was an important watershed in English history that greatly influenced English people and their language. It marked the last successful external military invasion. The Normans, they brought with them the feudal system from France, okay, that was to characterize future British history. However, the Celtic civilizations or the Celtic civilization continued in Wales, Scotland, and Ireland. And this is what you see today. In some traditions and some values and some rituals and celebrations, you can find them in Wales, Scotland, and Ireland, but not in England. Okay? Because the three countries, Wales, Scotland, and Ireland, they did not fall 100% under the Romanization or the Norman conquest or the Norman invasion. Okay? The victory of the Normans also meant the French aristocracy, and the French language was used by the elite of the society. And the king had control of lands both in England and France, and this is going to lead to a war between the two countries that would last for many years. William died in Rouen in Normandy in 1087. So the early settlements and invasion movements affected the development of British society and British life, and the newcomers, of course, also imposed their language, their culture, and their practice in society, and adopting some of the native characteristics. This is what today, when we look at the British social life in general, we see that there are very few British towns that lack any physical evidence of the successive changes, but they have profoundly influenced the social, the legal, the economic, the political, the cultural, and the administrative institutions, in addition to the language. The English language has evolved through time thanks to the people who have been invading the country, bringing their ethnic, linguistic, religious, and cultural origin. So this is the end of the first chapter, which is the culture, the definition of culture, and the founding of Britain.